Hello again, BookTube. I'm back to talk to you today about a short story that I read, another short story for Short Story Summer, the BookTube event created by Randy Ray, the literate Texan, all centered around reading short stories for the month of August. And the short story that I read today was by Rudyard Kipling, and it is Mowgli's Brothers from the Jungle Book, the very first short story in the collection of Jungle Book stories. All of these stories, if I would be surprised if you've never heard of the Jungle Books, even if you've never seen the Disney movie. The Jungle Books are all centered around the same group, sort of the same group of animal characters, and all centered around the man cub Mowgli, who was taken by a couple wolves and raised as one of the animals in the jungle whenever he was a very tiny baby. And so Mowgli's Brothers is, is the very first story in that collection, and somehow I had never read these stories. I had seen bits and pieces of the Disney cartoon. I've never even seen the Disney cartoon all the way through. Most of the popular children's movies from the time that I grew up, or the popular Disney movies, I just never watched. For whatever reason, you kind of have to understand what I was like as a little kid. Uh, I sort of stopped watching children's movies or children's TV shows when I was about 9 or 10. Uh, and if you've ever met me, you sort of think like, oh, that checks out. For whatever reason, I was just always drawn towards more adult movies or adult books, things like that. I don't know why. I was raised around adults my whole life, so that's probably a reason. But yeah, the whole point in saying that is that I'd never seen the Jungle Book, the Disney movie, and I'd never read any of the stories. And now the stories are not necessarily they're not necessarily for children, at least based on the first short story that I read. It is, in terms of the mood of the stories, it is vastly different from the Disney movie. The Disney movie is sort of the skeleton of these stories, but with the fangs taken out. And so, yeah, Mowgli's Brothers, it starts out, this is when Mowgli is like a newborn baby, and the great tiger, Shere Khan, is running around in the jungle, and he is hunting humans, and he and his band of miscreants attack this village, or attack this campfire, and it sort of goes wrong, and because he hates humans, and he wants to Shere Khan hates humans, and he wants to kill all of them and eat them, and so he attacks this campfire in this village, and it goes wrong, and there's this so the humans sort of scatter, and there's this little baby that is found outside this cave by uh, they're called Mother Wolf and Father Wolf. They're these wolves that live with the pack of animals, and the Mother Wolf takes Mowgli, and Mowgli doesn't really have a name yet. He's just basically a newborn baby. So she takes him, and she wants to keep him. She wants to raise him as one of her own, and she gives him the name of Mowgli because in their language, Mowgli is the name of is called the frog. Mowgli means frog, and when she finds this baby, he is completely hairless. He's naked, doesn't have any clothes on him, and so she thought he looked like a frog, and so they decided to name him Mowgli for the frog. And so Shere Khan he finds out that this baby went missing, and he wants to take it as spoils of war for his own. And Mother Wolf, I think her name is Raksha, and the Father Wolf, they do not like him. Nobody likes Shere Khan. Everybody keeps a cool, wary distance from him, and Shere Khan sees the baby as his right, the right to for him to have it, and so they have this big council with all of the animals in the jungle. Akela is the name of the alpha wolf in the jungle, and he's starting to get old, and Shere Khan knows that, and he's trying to manipulate all of the younger wolves and the younger predator animals to betray him, betray Akela, and because Shere Khan knows that if they can all betray Akela, then he can get this baby for his own. Because at this point, Shere Khan is the only one who doesn't want to keep this baby. He wants to kill, like I said, he wants to kill the baby and eat it. And the the council, the whole council itself is sort of indifferent to it. And Raksha, she's at the point where she sort of accepted the fact that this might be the last fight she ever has, because she's willing to die for this baby and wants to protect it, wants to raise it as one of her own. And so Akela, he makes the decision. He says, well, okay, if you can find two people to speak for this man cub, it cannot be you, it cannot be Father Wolf, it has to be two other people who can speak for it, then you can keep it. And then Baloo, the big lazy bear, speaks for him, and then Bagheera, the the big Black Panther, speaks for him. And it's an interesting scene, the way that it's written in the story, because Bagheera, he had killed a bull about like a mile or two away from this council site, and Bagheera basically says to the council, he said, "Hey, I killed this bull. I will get Baloo and I speak for Mowgli, and then I will also give you this bull that I killed. If you let us keep this baby." And so Akela says, well, "All right, that's good enough for me." And so they decide to keep this baby, to keep Mowgli, and then it's like a fast forward thing where he raises up, where we sort of watch Mowgli as he grows into an adolescent. And there's this point when the alpha wolf Akela, he misses his hunt, so he sort of gets manipulated and falls into a trap laid by Shere Khan, to where his age is shown among all the other animals in the jungle. And the animals see that, and there's this sort of the law of the jungle that pervades throughout this whole book, throughout just this whole story, that says, well, the alpha wolf, if the alpha wolf is seen missing his hunt, or he can't kill these animals anymore, he can't lead the pack, then he pretty much has to be killed by the pack, and a new one will have to take over. And this is the case for Akela, the alpha wolf, at the time. And so, and again, he sort of falls into a trap that Shere Khan lays for him. And so, uh, so Shere Khan, he wants to take over as the leader of the jungle, and so they have this other big council. And before all of this is happening, Bagheera tells Mowgli, as he's growing up, that Shere Khan will kill you if you don't do something about it, if you don't leave. And you're always going to butt heads with Shere Khan, and he's very evil, and he will not. He is going to. He's bad news. And so Mowgli said, "Well, all right. Well, what do I do?" And then Bagheera tells Mowgli about the red flower, the thing that only Mowgli can handle, because all the other animals in the jungle are afraid of it. They don't want anything to do with it. And so, but only Mowgli can do it because he's human, and red flower in this story is a translation for fire, something that only humans can put together. And so Mowgli finds out there's this whole council thing, and he finds out that basically Shere Khan is going to try to find him and kill him. And so before this next council happens, Mowgli goes into goes into a village and he takes this big like pot that's burning, and he goes to the council, and he basically, so all of the animals in the jungle have been, most of the animals in the jungle have been manipulated by Shere Khan to do what Shere Khan says and try to kill Mowgli. Well, Mowgli basically uses the red flower and fends them all off. I think he actually, there's a scene where he like smacks Shere Khan with the flower, with the red flower, and Shere Khan goes crazy and runs away. And then at the end of the story, Mowgli basically has to go back to the humans, go back to live with the humans for a little bit because he knows that there's a bounty on his head in the jungle, pretty much. And for the first time reading this story, it was really good. I'd read some of Rudyard Kipling's, some of his most famous poems, so I was aware of how good a writer he was. I never read any of his short stories though, and this was really good. And of course, if you know anything about the Jungle Books, the poems that are at the end of each story are fantastic. You can tell who wrote those poems. You can tell it's Rudyard Kipling that wrote them. And I will definitely continue to read this. I might make this my little like project, at least while I'm off for about another week and a half from classes. I think I might take initiative and just read through this whole thing and talk about each story as I finish them. And I meant to film this video yesterday, but the time just sort of got away from me. And yeah, I mean, this is if you have not read the Jungle Books, or if you've not read anything about them, or if you haven't read Rudyard Kipling, you really should. Kipling is one of those writers from history who has been posthumously canceled. Um, People only ever read Kipling as a warning now, like in universities or just in general. Anytime you mention Rudyard Kipling, you have to have a sort of apologetic air about you, and uh, I'm a normal person, so I'm able to separate the art from the artist, and people who can't do that, infuriate me. I'm sure they infuriate you because what they do as what they do as people or as human beings really doesn't have anything to do with the art itself. And you can like the writer as a person, or you can not like him. But I'm going to not be on my high horse to try not to. But the whole point is that like you should read the short story Summer. I'll probably make another video about another short story I'm reading later today. But yeah, this is really good. So if you need a short story to read, this is all available on Project Gutenberg. If you don't have a physical copy yourself, I'm sure you can find a copy of it in your library. So, but yeah, that's what I got for you today. So hopefully you enjoyed it.